Hello friends, now we are discussing the problems related to the strength of material subject which I was taken from MPSC Mains 2020 paper. So we are observing the difficulty level of these questions, the difficulty level it starts from very easy mode to the moderate level. Let us see some questions from the strength of material subject. See the first question. If I take this one, when a body is subjected to the two mutually perpendicular stresses, sigma x and sigma y, then the center of the Mohr circle from the origin. This is the problem given. So when you look at this problem we are having from the concept of a complex stresses and strains, or we can say this is the concept of principal stresses and strains. In this also, this question is related to the Mohr circle method. As we know, if I want to draw the Mohr circle for any state of a stress condition, what are the basic parameters required? When you think about that, two basic parameters I require. One, the distance from origin to the center of the Mohr circle, what we call it as OC. Suppose, for example, this is the Mohr circle. When we are plotting the Mohr circle, on x-axis we are taking normal stresses, on y-axis we are taking the shear stress. This is the origin point. First basic parameter I require, distance from origin to center of the Mohr circle. This is OC. I require this one. How we are finding this one? There is an empirical relation, that is sigma x plus sigma y divided by 2. Sigma x plus sigma y divided by 2, it is giving the distance from origin to center of the Mohr circle. Second parameter I required is radius of Mohr circle. Radius of Mohr circle we are getting from in plane maximum shear stress. But in this question asking distance from origin to the center of the Mohr circle, how we are locating? This is the required answer. Check the options. When I am checking the options, option A, sigma x plus sigma y divided by 2. Option B, sigma x minus sigma y divided by 2. Option C, 2 sigma x plus sigma y divided by 2. Option D, sigma x plus sigma y. So which one is correct? Option A is correct for this question. Now see the second question. What will be the modulus of rigidity? Modulus of a rigidity G we require. For which condition? If the value of modulus of elasticity is 200 kilonewtons per square millimeters and the Poisson's ratio for that material is 0.25. When Young's modulus value equal to 200 kilonewton per square millimeters and its Poisson's ratio equal to 0.25, for this condition, what is G value? That is asking. This topic we are observing, as this question we are observing from the topic of simple stresses and strains. And in that also, this question we are having from the concept of elastic constants, as we know. So, first you identify the relation between these three elastic constants. When I am taking the relation between these three elastic constants, as we know that E equal to 2 times G into 1 plus mu. What we required from this relation? We required G value. Just make G as subject, then it is E upon 2 times 1 plus mu we are having. What is E value? E value 200 kilonewton per square millimeters. And mu value it is given as 0.25. This is nothing but 200 divided by 2.5. If I simplify, I am getting 80 kilonewton per square millimeters. This is a direct, straightforward question. When you are taking these options, 80 we are identifying at option B. So the required answer for this question is 80. That is nothing but option B. Now take the another question. This is the definition, directed definition. Look at the question. Due to the external loading, the length of the member is decreased by del L. That means, suppose if I have a member, on this member, say L is the length of the member, because of application of force, what is the change we are observing in the length direction? Decrease in length. That load it is causing the decrease. When it is possible, if I apply the pushing load. What is the change we are observing? Del L. What we required? The ratio of decrease in length to the original length. This question is also we are having from the concept of simple stresses and strains. Simple stresses and strains. What we required? The ratio of decrease in length to length, it is going to be decreased, divided by original length. This ratio what we call. See, this is a compressive load. Because of compressive load, whatever the strain you measured in loading direction, that strain we may call it as compressive strain. That strain we may call it as compressive strain. Basically, the strain measured in loading direction is called longitudinal strain. The nature of longitudinal strain in this case, it is having compressive nature. So, from the definition of compressive strain, how you are defining the compressive strain? Compressive strain, it is nothing but strain. It is nothing but decrease in length, divided by original length. This ratio only asking, my dear friends, original length. That is nothing but a dl decrease in length divided by L. What we call, this is nothing but a compressive strain. See the options. First one is the intensity of stress. Second one is the compressive stress. It is not a stress. Dimensional changes are related to the strain. So these two are wrong. Shear strain. What is the definition of shear strain? That is the total angular deformation between two mutually perpendicular planes. So option C is also wrong. Now come to the option D, compressive strain. The required answer is compressive strain for this question. Very, very easy to some moderate level of difficulty. See the question. Another interesting question. A simply supported beam of span L meters. The type of beam, it is a simply supported beam. Length of the beam, it is given as L. Carrying a triangular load. Triangular load, it is nothing but a UVL. Triangular load. How it is varying? Varying gradually from 0 at the supports. At both supports, so 0 intensity, that load is having at both ends, to omega per unit length at the center of the span. Now, if I take this statement in the graphical form, let me take this one. Given beam, it is just simply supported beam. Let us take a roller support at this end and a hinged support at this end. Say the length of the beam, it is L units. Now, what is the loading on this beam? Maximum intensity we are observing at the center and 0 intensity we are observing at both ends. This is the rate of loading. Let us take the loading diagram for this beam. This is the loading diagram. What is the rate of loading at this point? Omega or small w. See, here total length it is L units. But here to here, if I take this one, the distance from A to C, if I take, it is L by 2. When you look at the loading diagram, it's a symmetrical load. Clearly we are observing. When the load is symmetrical, then how to find out the reactions at both supports? Reactions at both supports, we are calculated by a small trick, that is a total load divided by 2, it is giving the reaction RA or B. So, due to symmetry, RA or RB, it should be equal to total load. What is the total load? How you can find out the total load? Area of this triangle, it is giving the total load. Half into base into height divided by 2. So, what is RA value? RA value omega L divided by 4. Similarly, RB value, if I take this one, it is also omega L divided by. But what we required? What will be the maximum bending moment? So, this problem is from SFD and BMD concept. What we required in this problem? We required maximum bending moment value for this loading condition. Look at here, the load, it is a symmetrical load. When the load is symmetrically applied on the simply supported beam, then the maximum bending moment occurs at the midspan of the beam. That means here at point C, we are having the maximum bending moment. Where we are identifying the maximum bending moment? Here. At this point, we are observing the maximum bending moment. If I want to find out the bending moment at any section, what is the concept we are using? The concept behind this one is the algebraic sum of moments of all the forces. Either left hand side of this section or right hand side of this section, it is giving the bending moment at this section. Here in this particular case, I am taking a left hand side part. When I am taking left hand side part, how many forces we are observing? RA at a distance of L by 2. And if you take some part of UVL, we are identifying, which is that this part I am taking. This part of UVL. So, this part of UVL is available left side of your selected section or selected point. So, first of all, you should convert this UVL into the point load, and that point load is acting at the centroid of the shaded area. Now, again it is a triangle. Convert this one half, and what is the altitude for this triangle? This is the altitude. Omega is the altitude. What is the base? Base. This is the base we are having for shaded triangle. L upon 2. So, if I convert the shaded area into the point load, it should be omega L divided by 4. And from section, this load, it is acting at a distance of 1/3 of base. L by 2 is the base. Right. Now, left hand side of this section, we are observing two forces. One RA at a distance of L by 2. Second one omega L upon 4 at a distance of 1/3 of L by 2. Now, take the bending moment at a section. How you are writing the bending moment at a section? Let us take. Here, my requirement is maximum bending moment. In this case, maximum bending moment is available at point C. Write down the bending equation by considering the left hand side forces. First one is RA at a distance of L by 2. How it is taking the rotation? It is giving the positive effect, clockwise rotation. Left hand side clockwise rotation, it is giving the positive effect. So, first thing, if I take this one, RA at a distance of L by 2 minus, why it is minus? Look at here, this load, this force, omega L divided by 4, it is giving the anti-clockwise rotation. Left hand side anti-clockwise rotation, it is giving the negative effect. So, omega L by 4, the distance is 1/3 of L by 2. Omega L by 4, the distance is 1/3 of L by 2 we are having. Simplify this. What is RA value? RA value, if I take this one, RA, it is omega L divided by 4 into L by 2 minus omega L square divided by 4 is also 4 3s also 12, 12 2s are 24. Now, let us simplify this one. Omega L square divided by 8 minus omega L square divided by 24. Just simplify, take the LCM and simplify, you are getting omega L square divided by 12. So maximum bending moment is omega L square divided by 12. Omega L square divided by 12. Look at the options. When I am looking the options, look at here. Option A, here we are identifying omega L square divided by 6. That is wrong. And option B, omega L square divided by 12. So option B is the correct answer for this question. This is somewhat a moderate level. Difficulty level is somewhat moderate level. Now, let us take the another question. It is also a direct question. See this one. The bending equation is written as, you know, the flexor formula or bending formula. So, this question from the concept of theory of simple bending or pure bending concept. Where from this question? Theory of simple bending or pure bending concept. As we know, flexor formula, direct question this is. Flexor formula. When you are taking the flexor formula, M upon INA, equal to sigma bending divided by Y, it should be equal to E divided by R, my dear friends. E divided by R, my dear friends. Let us take this question. See, if I take this one, M upon INA, here we are having I sigma. Look at here in the numerator part, here we are having M and here sigma and here E. But here I is there, but here sigma is there. This is wrong. So we never find any square parameters in bending equation. That is also wrong. Now, if you take this one, look at here. So I think the given options are wrong in this case. Basically, some printing error, typing error. So let us take this one. It is M upon INA equal to sigma divided by Y equal to E divided by R. Somewhat a printing error related to the options. So this is the bending equation, you know that. Fine. Now, let us move on to another question. Look at the question. If a point in a strained material is subjected to two mutually perpendicular stresses, let us show that on element, state of stress, we are having one element. So, sigma x positive. Why it is positive? Because it is having tensile nature, clearly mentioned. Sigma x value 100 megapascal with the tensile nature. When I am taking the sigma y value, sigma y it is 50 megapascal with the compressive nature. So, sigma y compressive nature, my dear friend, with a magnitude of 50 megapascal. What we required? We required the magnitude of maximum shear stress. Again, this question from the concept of principal stresses and strains. Straightforward question. What is the maximum shear involved? The magnitude of maximum shear stress. Magnitude of maximum shear stress, I know here we can use two formulas, any one of these two formulas to find out the in-plane maximum shear stress, that is sigma x minus sigma y divided by 2 whole square plus tau xy square under root. Or else in terms of principal stresses, tau max equal to sigma 1 minus sigma 2 divided by 2. Now, see this element. When you are observing this element on this plane, do you find any shear? No. So, here sigma x is plus 100 megapascal and sigma y is minus 50 megapascal. So, when you are observing this plane, vertical plane, when you take the vertical plane, on vertical plane, we are not finding any shear. So if the plane does not carry any shear, such planes are considered as a principal planes. So this plane is principal plane. I can write this as P1, first principal plane. And if I take this horizontal plane, on this plane also we are observing only normal stress. This plane is also not carrying any shear. Then can I consider this plane is also a principal plane? Let us take it is principal plane 2. The angle between the two principal planes, it is a 90 degrees, we know that. Now, if you look at the magnitude of these two magnitude point, this is having maximum magnitude. So, sigma x I may consider as sigma 1, sigma y I may consider as sigma 2. That is nothing but major principal stress, I can say it is 100 megapascal. Minor principal stress, I can say minus 50 megapascal. Let us use this relation, any one of this relation. Now, tau max equal to sigma 1 100, sigma 2 it is minus 50 divided by 2. Now, let us take this one. This is 150 divided by 2, 75 megapascal. For this condition, the maximum shear stress developed in the element, it is a 75 megapascal. Look at the options. Option A 25, this is wrong. Option B 50, this is wrong. Option C 75 is correct. So, the correct or required answer for this question, it is option C is the correct option. Hope you understand. Then come down to the next question. See this question. Read the question carefully. This question also from the concept of simple stresses and strains. See, the concept of simple stresses and strains, so this is very, very important topic, particularly strength of material point. So, many concepts we are going to be built in this topic. That concept we are further reuse for the other topics. So, that's why the concept of simple stresses and strains I may consider as a heart of strength of material subject. Read the question carefully. A bar of diameter 30 millimeter is subjected to a tensile load such that the measured extension as a gauge length of 200 mm is 0.009 millimeter. First of all, we are having a bar something like this. On this bar, we are applying a tensile load P. We don't know the magnitude of the load, but I know the nature of the load. Nature of load, it is given as tensile nature. And what is the initial diameter for this bar? Initial diameter of the bar, it is 30 millimeters. Say that initial diameter I am taking D. When this load is applied, an extension was measured over a length of 200 millimeter is 0.09 mm. It means the initial length, gauge length of the bar, it is 200 millimeters. What is the increase we are observing in the length direction? Increase we are observing in the length direction is 0.09 millimeters. And the change in diameter, simultaneously we are observing the lateral changes. So, lateral dimension, it is nothing but a D, that a change in diameter. As length increases, diameter it is going to be decreased, as we know from the geometry point. What is the change we are observing in the diameter? The change we are observing in the diameter, it is a 0.0045 millimeters. What we required for this problem? We required a Poisson's ratio. Let us observe the definition of the Poisson's ratio. When I am taking the definition of the Poisson's ratio, lateral strain, it is the ratio of lateral strain divided by longitudinal strain. But we know these two strains are opposite to each other. Here minus sign indicates both the strains are opposite to each other. Now, what is the lateral dimension we are observing? Lateral dimension is diameter D. So, change in diameter divided by original diameter, it is giving the lateral strain over change in length divided by original length, it is giving the longitudinal strain. Now here elongation we are observing for length direction, and contraction we are observing decrease in diameter for diameter. So if I take this one, what is the del D? Del D here 0.0045 divided by what is the original diameter? 30 is the original diameter. 30 is the original diameter, minus plus, divided by change in length, it is a 0.09 millimeters, so divided by what is original length of the bar? Gauge length, it is given as 200. 200 is original length of the bar. Just to simplify this one, if I simplify that one, we are having a 0.0045 divided by 30 divided by 0.9 divided by 200. 0.3333 like that. See the options. If I take the options we are having fractions, so convert into the fraction, it is 1 divided by 3. So what is Poisson's ratio value? Poisson's ratio value, it is 1 upon 3. Which one is correct? Option A is correct. Option A is correct. So this is this question involves some calculation part. Right. Now let us observe the next question. A point of contraflexure, flexure, bending, contra, opposite in a bending moment diagram indicates which one? So what is the definition of POC? What is the definition of POC? It is the point where curvature, if I take the curvature, okay, where the curvature reverse its direction from sagging to hogging, or hogging to sagging, or where the bending moment changing its sign from positive to negative bending moment. As we know the definition of the POC. Point of contraflexure is the point where bending reverses its direction. Bending curve reverses its direction. At that point we know bending moment changing its sign from positive to negative or negative to positive. Just use that definition and verify the options. Negative bending moment. Not, this will be wrong. Zero shear force. No, it will be wrong. See the option C, bending moment changes its sign. So where the bending, the point where the bending moment changing its sign, that point we may call it as point of contraflexion. Look at the option D, shear force changes its sign. The point where the shear force changes its sign, that point does not have any specific name. Clearly we know that. Option D is also wrong. So for this question, which one is correct? Option C is correct. Now see the question. A simply supported beam of span L is carrying a point load W at its mid-span. What is the deflection at the center? Now this question is related to the slopes and deflection. The given beam is a simply supported beam and the load on the beam is a point load. That point load is applied at the center. This is a standard question. For this case, when we are having a simply supported beam, let us say the length of the beam is L units, and if we apply the point load at a center with a magnitude W, this is a point C. Let us take this is L by 2 and this is L by 2. Span AC is L by 2 and span BC is L by 2. Now for this case, the maximum deflection we are observing at mid-span because the load on the beam, it is a symmetrical load. Under symmetrical loading condition, the maximum deflection is available at a mid-span. At this point, slope equal to 0. We know that. Now, for this problem, The maximum deflection, if I take, that is a WL cube divided by 48 EI. It is one standard case. So option B is correct. If you don't know this one, if you forget this formula, then use any one of the methods. Here, to solve this question, I am using a moment area method. So moment area, from moment area method also we can easily get that value. So moment area method depending upon the area of bending moment diagrams. So first of all, the given beam is a simply supported beam. Let us take the simply supported beam. This is a simply supported beam. And here the point load W is applied. I can mark this as A, this is B, and this is C. Span AC it is having L by 2 distance. Span BC it is having L by 2 distance. Now, what is the reaction at A? Reaction at A, it is a W divided by 2 because it is a symmetrical load. And the reaction at B, it is again W divided by 2. Take the curvature diagram for this one, or take the bending moment diagram. First I am taking the bending moment diagram. Now, if EI is constant, bending moment diagram is sufficient for us. Now, let us take this one. This is the bending moment diagram. You know how to plot the bending moment diagram. Now, here at point C, what is the bending moment value, my dear friends? WL divided by 4. Span AC it is having L by 2, and span BC is also having L by 2. Now, use the second theorem from this method. What does second theorem tells us? Let us take this one. If I take the elastic curve, this is the elastic curve we are having. Where you are identifying the zero slope? Yes, at point C we are identifying the zero slope. So second theorem I can easily apply when you are identifying the zero slope on the beam. This is the zero slope. Here at C I required a deflection because at C the maximum deflection is available. Now let us take the tangent from point C. When I take the tangent from point C, see the tangential deviation of point A, tangential deviation of point A with respect to tangent at point C. Now look at here, this is this line it is giving the tangential deviation of point A with respect to point C. But the tangential deviation of point A with respect to point C, if you observe, this is exactly equal to YC in this case. Is it right or not? Exactly. Let us take this one. I am applying the theorem 2. From theorem 2, tangential deviation of point A with respect to point C. In this case, it should exactly equal to YC. That is Y max. How you are taking this one? Area of bending moment diagram between C and A divided by EI flexural rigidity dot X bar. X bar where we need to measure? X bar I need to measure from point A. Look at here. This is the area I am observing between A and C. X bar for this area I need to take from point A. X bar always measured from the tangential deviation point. This is X bar from A. Got it. Now what is the area of bending moment diagram between A and C? Half. It's a triangular shape. Base is L by 2. Height is W L divided by 4 whole upon EI into X bar we need to measure from A, that is 2/3 of base L by 2. 2 is getting cancelled. Now take this one. WL cube divided by 2 2s are 4, 4 4s are 16, 16 3s are 48, 48. So I am using a moment area method to solve this question. If you remember the formula directly, you can take the option B. because it is a standard case. So which one is correct in this case? WL cube divided by 48 EI is correct answer. This is the required answer for this question. Let us take this another question. The section modulus of a circular section at an axis passing through its CC. Section modulus. This problem is from the concept of pure bending or simple bending, or we can say bending stresses in beams. Simple bending concept. Section modulus, it is a strength parameter as we know. Basically, section modulus are representing the strength of the beam against applied moment. It's a cross-sectional property. How you are defining the section modulus? Section modulus ZNA equal to INA divided by Y max. INA, that is the total area of moment, total moment of inertia, area of moment of inertia. Y max, distance of extreme layer from the neutral axis. Now look at here. What is the shape of the section? Circular cross section. When I am taking the circular cross section, let me take, this is the circular cross section. Say the diameter already, you can take it is a D, and this is the neutral axis, we know that, it's a direct formula. Now distance from neutral axis to extreme fiber, this is Y max. Y max, it is nothing but D by 2. What is the INA? Area moment of inertia for circular section, pi upon 64 d raised to 4 divided by Y max d by 2. Just to simplify, you are getting pi by 32 d cube. Look at the options. If I observe the options, option A is wrong, option B is wrong, option C is wrong, option D is. This is one of the standard case again, right? Circular section. Now, see the another question. This is also, I can use the standard method to solve this question. Now, a cantilever beam AB of length L is subjected to UDL of intensity omega kilonewton per meter or a length of B shown in the figure. That means the given beam, it is a cantilever beam. On this beam, we are observing partial UDL. UDL is not spreading over the entire length. Partial UDL we are observing. Now, what we require? If EI is constant, flexural rigidity is constant, what is the deflection at point C? We require the deflection at point C. Let us mark this is point A, this is point B, this is point C. Now look at here. If I take the elastic curve in between B and C, it is taking a circular arc shape. Between A and C, this is a straight line. This is a straight line as we know. So we require the deflection at point C. Deflection at point C. Now, if I take this span, now look at here, should I consider it is a standard case? What is the length we are having in this case? Length, it is nothing but given as B. Standard case. What is the rate of loading we are having? This is. When we are having a cantilever with the entire length UDL is spreading, here L I can say it is a B units, rate of loading omega. So what is the maximum deflection? For this case, maximum deflection, it is nothing but omega L raised to 4 divided by 8 EI. Yes. What is L value? In this case, L value is B. Just in place of L, you can take B. Then it is omega B raised to 4 divided by 8 EI. This is a standard case we are having. Look at the options. This is wrong. Here B cube 6, this is also wrong. Here 8EI is there, but numerator is wrong. Now look at here. Option D is correct. This is a standard case. Or else you can apply the moment area method or some other methods, conjugate beam method or DI, whatever it may be, right? These are the questions what we are observing from the strength of material, particularly MPSC 2020 mains paper. When you are looking at all the problems, See the difficulty level of the questions from the strength of material, this is very easy to moderate level. Few numerical part we are observing, but that numerical part also we may not feel any difficulty. And some of the problems are directly we are observing related to the definitions. So most of the problems we are observing in this particular paper from the concept of simple stresses and strains, and a simple bending concept, and the concept of principal stresses and strains, and the SFD and BMD, and then the next topic is slopes and deflections. But all the questions are very easy. Hope you cleared all these questions. All the best.